Nexi, and like this is the Katana clean boost pedal, something that I always have at all times with me, and it plugs right in. So it's really cool, and it's incredibly unique, and I'm honored to be able to work with them and to do this today. So yeah, they pop into the board like this, and they turn on, and you're in. And so you just have two inputs over here, and that's it. And it's got a tuner built in, and they make different sizes, one that has 4, one for acoustic boards, for bass. It's very cool and very unique. But I'm gonna stop talking about it, and I'm gonna play through it so you guys can hear it in action. Okay, my cables back in, and we're gonna see how this bad boy sounds. So what I've done here is I'm running just straight from the board into a Logic file, and it's as simple as that. So it's kind of a preamp as well, in a sense, and we'll see how it sounds. I've got a little bit of reverb turned on, but that's the only thing that you're hearing that's not coming through the board. So for me as a clean player, by the way, if you have questions, shoot them through. Even if they're in Dutch, I'll do my best to translate. But for me as like a clean player, I love being able to have something like this with a signal that's just so, I mean, again, just... And so again, just having something that you know is going to be vibrant, and then add, so right now this is the 70s distortion. You know, whatever music you play, like I'm on a Strat, which is not necessarily something that you would go with for for hardcore rock and roll, but so this pedal is the 70s distortion pedal, and I've got the gain kind of at noon. I've got the tone kind of cranked a little bit to 3 o'clock or so, and the volume's right at half. Back pickup on a Strat. Yeah. Woo! Sounds really good. I mean, like that, again, for me, when I'm having something distorted, like having that crispy, like right at the cusp of breaking up, but still having the intelligibility of what you're playing, that is so cool. And like, back to clean, put the delay on. Super cool. So again, if you have questions, bring them in. And if you're just joining us, I'm here with Nexi Industries talking about their really revolutionary board and pedals. So just so you can see, here's the looper, which is not necessarily being utilized today because I've built this session, and we're gonna play over it. And I'm gonna use the Dutch Screamer on this, and that's a pedal that that has been by my side since knowing about Nexi. It's kind of like a tube screamer, but with more going on in the mid-range. I just love this pedal, and so I've got to kind of dial back because the tune's a little jazzier. I don't know. Yeah. mean, there you've got something, you would call it a clean tone, but again, really like breaking up right at the top when you dig in. And honor, like these things, they make the guitar, like, I don't know, everything has to work together for me to really be considered. So, you know, because every time you play, you're on display, and people are, they're not judging you, but it's kind of like, hey, let's listen to this guy's tone. It's the first thing you listen for when you're watching guitar players, and then you look down and like, what's making that sound? You know, that's when you know you're getting them, and it's the best honors when people are like, hey, what pedals are those? What do you? And these really hold up. It's just so cool to I don't know. I mean, what more can you say? They're great analog pedals that pop in and out, and like you could spill a drink on them if you're playing some bar. And which, by the way, pre-corona, you'd be playing in bars for all the kids watching. Thank you guys. Sorry, making sure I can respond to all the questions. But yeah, so having something that's and being a musician here in Nashville, you can have a couple gigs a day, and having the ability, I mean, you can just put this thing in the case, undone, boom. It's great. So I'm gonna go back to the rock and roll land for a second, because I don't live there that often, and I've got the pickup all the way back, which I think is nice for a Strat in that realm, and the tone kind of rolled off a little bit, and yeah. That's the 70s distortion. So what kind of Strat is this? This is a 59. Actually, yeah, it's got some modifications that have been made to it to make it playable, but it's my baby, and I love it. And so it's really old pickup. So these pickups are kind of got some top ends over the years has kind of disappeared, and that's okay. I mean, what I could do is I could add a compressor to this, and you know, really kind of getting the bones, but not even having, there's nothing on this in the session. You know, this is just a blank audio track, and what you're hearing is just the pedal. Let's try this. Let's really go for it though. Got that Jimi Hendrix thing kind of going on. I mean, you're not going to get a better tremolo. Yeah. So again, all these pedals, not only in their own right, are amazing, and you can get your favorite pedal. Say you've got something that, you know, nobody else makes, and it connects just like this using the Nexi adapter. I mean, so that's the katana, and you just, as simple as that, boom. insert any pedal here. And that, having the ability to do that, again, as a guitar player, we're always weird. Guitar players are super weird and defensive about gear. I know that because I can be that way. And when you find something that really works, you know, this is a part of my sound at all times. So, Nexi thought that one through. And when you're on the road, I mean, I get to go and I tour in Holland with Chris on bass, who actually works with Nexi, and they outfitted me with a board that was, it became, I really wish I could have flown back with it, honestly, because it's defined not only the sound of that tour, but the ability, because again, sometimes you get to the gig and you've got 15 minutes, you know, you just don't know. And having that one, the confidence to say it's gonna work and it's gonna be easy to set up, and two, it's gonna sound, which is the most important part of all of this. None of this would matter if it didn't sound great, and it sounds killer. So let me open up another session here. Something else I was working on. Here we go. And we'll keep grooving. And again, if you guys have any questions or you want to talk about how you're using the gear differently, or questions about certain pedals. I mean, as far as the pedals they make great distortion pedals. Again, my thing is the mid-range screamer, tube screamer style called the Dutch screamer, tremolo. This looper pedal is, I mean, to have one button and one knob is incredibly advanced. Again, we don't need it in this particular scenario, but when you're playing solo gigs, you can plug that thing on your acoustic board, and even the acoustic guitar has, again, great preamps and things like that. So let's give this a listen. Okay. Tell me that you still do. So just to prove it, I'm going to create a new track, and I'm not going to add anything, just so you guys can hear how good it sounds. All right. So that's just new track, nothing's been added. We can add something later if we want, but we don't have to. All right, let's just looper, see what happens. Again, just balancing back and forth between that heavy gain and then something really clean that's like right in my wheelhouse. New single, oh my gosh, could be. I guess I should say too, I have a new record, and Nexi's been a proud supporter of everything I've done, and musically has been a part of the journey really since the first record ever came out. And the new one is coming out called Secondary Colors. The next single is on June 12th. And you can get that and all the other singles and first 2 parts are out now that you can get everywhere, and yeah, just really happy to finally have it out, and honored to have played with all the musicians that are on it, and I can't wait to one day play it live when all of this is over. So I'm just gonna keep jamming. Do you use your amp or the computer input? So on this is just the computer, like the board is the DI in this scenario, and that's it. That's all you're hearing. And as far as this track itself, there's nothing on it. There's a limiter that's on the master, but that's really about it. And so that's what you're hearing though. So I'll turn the limiter off. And since that's off, I gotta reset my gain structure. Nerd stuff. So it's a really funk like kind of sound there. Let's see. Yeah, that feels good. And it's also responsive too, like if you're gonna do like finger picking and stuff. And for me, dynamics is a really important thing in playing. You know, being able to be way up here and then bring it down here, not to a screeching halt, but to like a very intimate thing. And having a board and pedals that respond to that as well is really important to me. Which pedals do you use for country style? So for country style, you got to have the trim on, and then again, a compressor when you're doing that chicken picking thing, which I'm not great at, of course. You wouldn't need that much. I mean, you can already hear it chomping away at it, which is cool. So like, then we take that, and then we're gonna throw this on. Really get this. And again, this is a Strat. I'd also normally have a telly on in its country setting. But yeah, if you're in Nashville, you have to play some country. That's for sure. But that, you know, is thanks. How do you transfer one signal to a stereo track? Well, okay, there's a few ways you could do that. So you're saying, and I'll watch for the comment, if you're saying you want the guitar to be a stereo track, what you can do is either have a split cable and go into the 2 tracks. So this is just a 2-track little mixer here from Presonus, and then you can create a track. Which I guess this is more of a Pro Tools or a Logic or a Ableton question. And you would create the new track. And for guitar, if it's going to be a guitar and you know that, and you're going to have an amp simulator or something like that, or it's just an audio track, you can go in and then it says inputs 1 and 2 on your computer instead of just input 1. And then, so like say you're running through this board, and then you're taking it to an amplifier. This is what I would do. If you were going to take it to an amplifier and then you have 2 mics, say you've got a nice soft ribbon mic and then an SM57, and you've got them both on the cone, I would run those into these 2 channels and then just have a stereo track to edit, because it's going to be the same guitar pass each time. So that's what I would do, I guess. But in this case, I don't even need an amp. So right now, I mean, I'm going straight from the board into the computer, and it's as easy as that. So, and if you're just tuning in, you can go back and watch this, but I'm talking about the Nexi plug and play boards. I mean, it's again, if you have, they make one that comes in 4, which is like a great compact, all the essentials board, and then one in 8 as well. What is your favorite song to play? Ooh. Gosh, that's a tough one. I would say if it's not my own song, I mean, you can't go wrong with like... Standing next to a mountain. Ooh, some Voodoo Child. I like. I guess that, and then if it's one of my tunes, to go from hardcore to nice adult contemporary, would be like. So that's a song called Music Pulls You Through, which kind of has like this really bounce, like the chords are in there, but you're playing to get to the next chord. You're like dancing around each chord to get to the next one. Which is kind of like, there's a little bit of a bass. It's not a bass line, but it's with it, like, that you can feel the bass inside of it that moves. Which is kind of fun. And there's another one too, the new single that's coming out that no one's heard yet. It's fun to play because it's got this finger picking and it uses like. That's why I'm working on me now. Yeah, on things you just can't see. No. It uses some gospel chords, which are a lot of fun. For which sounds do you use fuzz pedal? Okay, so like the Nexi fuzz, because I don't actually have that one on this board. I've got the 70s overdrive. But for sounds like that, I mean, you think some vintage Led Zeppelin and some vintage Jimmy is kind of that's like, I'm not like a rock player per se, but like getting kind of. Like feeling that out, and like, so it's fuzzy, but it's still kind of got that tastefulness to where you can still individually hear the notes and the strings, and instead of kind of losing it all in the chord where it just sounds kind of like a wall of sound. I still like having the ability to be articulate with each chord and with each string, and having a fuzz pedal that can do that, I think is really important, at least for me, you know, because I don't need to have like a wall of just raw coming at you. I want it to, if it's going to do that, I still want it to kind of not assault the listener, but instead say, yeah, that's really warm, because you can be warm and you can be aggressive at the same time. Yeah, Chris is right. Or you can run the Nexi direct and split that signal, and so you wouldn't even need an amp. And in the studio, I mean, again, if someone's sending me a track, because, you know, here there's recording all the time, and in this particular day and age when you can't get in together and have a session, people are sending tracks, and you know, it's not, most of them don't necessarily have to have like, all right, we need 3 mics on the amp and one that's down the hall getting the ambient reverb signal. You know, they're not things like that. It's like, hey, can you do this real quick because it's going to be on a commercial. So I'm like talking like really working as a musician. This board is great because I've got that live, you know, analog sound. Oh, it's just so warm right now. I mean, turn the tone up a little bit. And it was cool. I was dirking, believe it or not, on a Christmas song yesterday. Someone was sending out "'Tis the Season," and it had this jazzy comp kind of thing going on where it was like, I mean, really think like, you know, and like that just straight walking, and having that ability to keep the warmth but have a direct clean signal. So then I send it off to the guy that's mixing this track, and there's no complaints, because he's not like, oh, it's there's too much bleed, or there's too much gain, or it's redlining all the time. You can easily monitor it and easily fix these things without having to have all the hoops of like studio maintenance, you know. And that's really cool, and something I find to be really useful. So make sure I'm not missing any questions. Thank you guys for watching and being here. And again, thank you to Nexi for, one, letting me represent them and creating really great pedals. And even on boards, like I have a couple different things that you know, if I'm going to a country session or if I'm going to a jazz session where a certain board has certain things on it, there's always a Nexi pedal on the board, even if I don't have enough connexes to make it work, or you know, I'm not using the actual board or apparatus. And that's a testament to the pedals themselves, because that was my first. And again, like I said, guitar players are weird. We're super weird, and we're super clingy to certain pedals and certain looks and stuff. And once I played through it, I was like, wow, I have no qualms anymore. So, but that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate everyone hanging out and asking questions. And again, if you just tuned in and you want to rewatch it, this is just going to stay up on the Bax Music channel. Thank you guys for having me as well, and making, again, my musical life so much easier and sound so much better. So if there's not any more questions, my name's Paul, and I'm going to be here the rest of the day. I'm begging to go outside on this beautiful day, but playing music instead. All right, thank you guys, and I will see you again.